On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
It's important, as I'm adding context. What we do here is women that overlook the brother in the early years, and then they come back and say, I messed up a good man. That happens.
Can I say something?
No, you cannot, Q. You can't say nothing behind me tonight, Q. We got beef, nigga.
But let me go back to the question regarding men overlooking women. So in your past, do you regret anything that you've done with a woman, or regret any? Yes, Rilla, you, the one that just answered and kind of changed and turned it to women. But have you done anything that you regret that you've done to women in the past that you dated?
Now that becomes a different question. So are you asking me, do I think I've overlooked women in my past? Or are you asking me, do I have regrets of my behaviors and what I've done with women in the past?
My question was regrets.
Yeah, I have regrets.
Do men often overlook the women they have in their lives? Do men often overlook the women they have in their lives? And I'm going to start with the women. I want you guys to go ahead and set the tone for the night. So I'm going to start with Kay.
Often, I wouldn't necessarily say often. I do think that it happens. I think most people end up dating someone in their social circle or people that are around them. So I wouldn't say that it's often, but I do think that it happens sometimes. A girl is a friend and they don't look at them that way, so they might overlook that woman as a prospect for dating, whereas she could really be good for them. So yeah, often no, but sometimes yeah.
Okay, what about you, Island Girl Q?
I wouldn't say often. I think it comes to a certain point of time in my perspective. Men sometimes regret the action and choices they've made in the past when it comes to women. I've also heard that sometimes people don't realize what they have until it's gone, right? So it does come to those type of situations like that. But I hope they grow from it. From that, at a certain age, men are just out there sometimes just trying to do them and not really trying to settle down, and they might not be straightforward on what they're looking for and stuff like that. So and down the line they're like, dang, I should have done Mary right or Lucy right instead of treating her like X, Y, and Z when they're like 30, 35. So I do see that. I don't say it's often, I wouldn't say, but then I can't really read men's minds.
Okay. Can't read the man's minds. Interesting. Kayla, coming to you.
I don't disagree with anything the ladies have said so far. I do think this happens sometimes. When you're young, priorities are different sometimes for certain people. And that just because you had that opportunity then doesn't mean you'll have it later. And some people have to find that out the hard way when it comes to certain choices. So I do think it happens. I don't know about often, but I do think it happens more frequently than we think. Definitely.
Okay. Short and sweet. I got you. Courtney Michelle, do men often overlook the women they have in their lives?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with everyone. Do people in general often take their mate for granted? Yes. I think a lot of it has to do with sometimes how long you've been in a relationship, how comfortable you are in a relationship where you're complacent in the relationship. So do men do it often? Do, overlook their partner? Yes. Do women overlook their partner? Yes. And that's why I think a lot of times we talk about keeping it spicy, going home, changing the hair, I'll throw in a wig. So, keeping it spicy so you don't get overlooked. So the person still feel wanted.
Ow.
That's right. Little red one now, called a little red Chevrolet.
Oh, there you go. What you got on this, Logic, man? What you think about the men? You thinking men overlooking the women?
I know for sure men overlook women. And it's twofold. First of all, I think that men overlook women. They'll go back and they'll see, you know what, I had somebody good, and they look back at it and say, you know what, once they really see like what they missing, they'll see they overlook them certain criteria that they probably wanted in that woman, and they thought that the grass was green on the other side. On the other fold, I think that what happens is that men overlook women because in a deeper, I think they don't really know what a woman is really capable of until he crossed her in some type of way. Whether she was, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the last thing you want to see in life is a vengeful woman. And a woman can be vengeful for years and years and years, and they'll never look past it. And I don't think most men understand that about women. You know what I'm saying? And that's a true thing. You know, I mean, a woman to take a small thing and they'll hold that, and it will be totally vengeful. And then even though a man will see that woman do that to another man, they will go into that relationship with that woman and say, she'll never do me like that. So I think that men really overlook them, what that woman truly is. And then we tell ourselves that it's no way she'll be like that with me.
Gotcha. Interesting point. What you got on the Rilla?
Yeah, I don't think men often overlook women. That's to answer the question outright. To give a little bit of context from my perspective, I think men understand that we get who we qualify for, right? So you do hear these stories of some brothers that would say, you know, in a former life, I may have overlooked but that's usually a particular narrative attributed to a certain type of dude. Right? He may have been an extrovert. He may have been popular in college. He may have been popular in high school. He may have been, the athlete, the this, that, and the third, whoop-de-whoop. But I'm saying for the average brother, by and large, we know who we qualify for. So that's usually who we try and approach. A lot of brothers that, and this is my opinion, I can be wrong. You know what I'm saying? A lot of brothers that consider themselves average or that identify as average or whatever, they're not out here. They know who they qualify for. And so they not overlooking, they just addressing who they qualify for. Now, here's the flip side. And I don't like, because I did hear a little bit earlier where, both genders do this, but here's the flip side of it, because I didn't want to do it, but I think it's important, as I'm adding context. What we do here is women that overlook the brother in the early years, and then they come back and say, I messed up a good man. That happens.
Can I say something?
No, you cannot, Q. You can't say nothing behind me tonight, Q. We got beef, nigga.
But let me go back to the question regarding men overlooking women. So in your past, do you regret anything that you've done with a woman, or regret any? Yes, Rilla, you, the one that just answered and kind of changed and turned it to women. But have you done anything that you regret that you've done to women in the past that you dated?
Now that becomes a different question. So are you asking me, do I think I've overlooked women in my past? Or are you asking me, do I have regrets of my behaviors and what I've done with women in the past?
My question was regrets.
Yeah, I have regrets.